Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we dive in, just a quick warning, today's video is going to be pretty dark. We're talking about some of the most disturbing female killers in history, so if you're sensitive to violent content, maybe sit this one out. Now, we don't often hear about female serial killers, right? They don't get the same attention as their male counterparts. But make no mistake, they exist, and some of them are absolutely terrifying. The cases we're about to cover will seriously mess with your head. Alright, let's get into it. Here are the top 5 most vicious female killers. Let's start with a case that's just heartbreaking and horrifying at the same time. It's July 26, 2009, around 5 in the morning. Police get a call to a house in San Antonio, Texas. When they arrive, they find 33-year-old Otty Sanchez screaming at the top of her lungs, "The devil made me do it! The devil made me do it!" Officers walk into the bedroom and, there's no easy way to say this. The entire room is covered in blood. And what they found there was the body of her 3.5-week-old son, Scotty. The baby had been stabbed multiple times. His head was cut off. His fingers and toes were severed. And here's where it gets even worse, part of his brain had been eaten by his own mother. Now, here's the thing that makes this case so tragic. 6 days before this happened, Otty actually went to see a counselor. She told them she was hearing voices and seeing things. The counselor knew something was seriously wrong and diagnosed her with postpartum psychosis. They rushed her to the hospital. But here's the problem. The doctors didn't think her condition was severe enough. They didn't give her any medication. They didn't keep her for observation. They just sent her home. The night before the murder, Otty had a fight with her boyfriend and went to stay at her mother's house. And that's where it happened, in the early morning hours. Look, most people know about postpartum depression, right? It affects about 1 in 5 new mothers. But postpartum psychosis? That's way more rare. Only 1 in 1,000 mothers experience it. And it's far, far more dangerous. In Otty's case, her untreated psychosis led to an unimaginable tragedy. Little Scotty never stood a chance. Alright, if you thought that last one was bad, buckle up. Because Rosemary West is on a whole different level. Between 1973 and 1979 in Gloucester, England, Rosemary and her husband Fred West abducted, tortured, and murdered more than 10 women. And I'm not exaggerating when I say these two were absolute monsters. Rosemary's childhood was a nightmare. Her father was schizophrenic and repeatedly raped her. She was bullied at school constantly. By the time she was a teenager, she'd already become sexually deviant. That's when she met Fred West. Now Fred was no Prince Charming. He already had a criminal record. He'd been arrested multiple times for theft and had even been convicted of molesting a 13-year-old girl. Real piece of work, this guy. They moved in together, along with Fred's 2 daughters from a previous marriage. And Rosemary? She was a violent, abusive stepmother. Then she had her own daughter, Heather. In the summer of 1971, Rosemary flew into a rage and killed her stepdaughter, Charmaine. She just killed an 8-year-old girl. Fred was in prison at the time, but when he got out, he helped dispose of the body, cutting off her fingers and toes before burying her. When Fred's ex-wife came looking for her daughter, she disappeared too. Same deal, fingers and feet cut off, buried in a shallow grave. In 1972, they hired a woman named Caroline Owens as their nanny. They kept making sexual advances toward her, and when she refused, they abducted her. They tied her up, gagged her, raped her, and locked her in the cellar. Caroline managed to escape and went to the police. But here's the insane part. She was so traumatized, she couldn't face them in court. The Wests only paid a £50 fine. 50 pounds. That's it. And that just emboldened them. Over the years, they ramped up their killing spree. They targeted young women, mostly teenagers and women in their early 20s. They'd promise them jobs, lure them to their house, and then, well, they'd subject them to days of torture, rape, and elaborate bondage before finally killing them. They were finally caught in 1992 when Fred videotaped himself raping his own daughter. She told friends, who reported them to the police. Oh, and remember Heather, their first daughter together? A year before they were caught, she told friends about the abuse. So Rosemary and Fred strangled her to death and buried her in the garden. Fred was charged with 12 counts of murder, but he took the coward's way out and killed himself in jail. Rosemary was tried and convicted of 10 murders. She's still in prison today, serving life. Okay, so this next one hits different because it involves someone you're supposed to trust, a nurse. Janine Jones was a pediatric nurse in Texas, and she's believed to have killed anywhere from 1 to, get this, 46 babies and children. We might never know the real number. Janine was born in 1950 and adopted by a nightclub owner. She worked as a beautician before going to nursing school in the 70s. She got jobs at several hospitals in San Antonio, including Behar County Hospital. And that's when things got weird. An abnormal number of children started dying under her care. The hospital called them unexplained events, but they couldn't prove she was doing anything wrong. So you know what they did? They just banned her from working in that particular unit. Janine quit soon after, and surprise, surprise, the unexplained death stopped. She moved to Kerrville, Texas, and got a job at a clinic. And wouldn't you know it, the same thing started happening again. 8 children had medical emergencies under her care. The case that finally brought her down involved a 15-month-old baby named Chelsea McClellan. Chelsea was brought in for routine immunizations, just measles and mumps shots, normal stuff. Janine gave her the first injection. Within seconds, Chelsea started having a seizure and gasping for air. Then Janine gave her another injection. According to Chelsea's mother, the baby went limp and stopped breathing. An ambulance was called, but it was too late. Chelsea died. So here's Janine's MO. She'd use drugs like heparin and digoxin. These drugs cause short-term paralysis and leave the body really quickly, so they're hard to detect. Her sick game was to induce a medical crisis, then swoop in like a hero, revive the victim, and get praised for saving the day. Except sometimes she'd push it too far and the child would die. But that didn't stop her. She got away with it for so long because her murders couldn't be proven, and honestly, no one wanted to believe it. I mean, who thinks that someone in the medical field, someone whose job is to save lives, would be actively trying to kill people? In 1985, a Swedish scientist finally discovered a way to detect trace amounts of the drugs she used. They exhumed Chelsea's body, and that was it. Janine was convicted and sentenced to 99 years in prison. But here's the kicker. There was a legal loophole that could have seen her released as early as 2018. Thankfully, she was later indicted on additional charges and is still behind bars. Alright, so Nanny Doss doesn't look like a serial killer. She looks like everybody's sweet grandma. But don't let that fool you. This woman left about 11 people dead, including her own grandson. Nanny grew up in Blue Mountain, Alabama, under super strict parents. No boys, no makeup, no friends, no pretty dresses, nothing. She didn't really have a social life until she got her first job, and pretty soon after, she married her first husband, Charlie Braggs. They had 4 daughters together, but Charlie was constantly cheating on her. The stress of being a young mother combined with her husband's infidelity led Nanny to start drinking heavily. That's when 2 of her middle children mysteriously died of food poisoning. Suspicious, right? Charlie definitely thought so. He took their eldest daughter Melvina and left, abandoning Nanny with the youngest child and his mother. And wouldn't you know it, not long after, Charlie's mother died too. Nanny was lonely, so she started looking through the Lonely Hearts columns in newspapers. That's where she found husband number 2, Robert Frank Harrelson. Turns out he was an alcoholic and an ex-convict. But hey, their marriage lasted 16 years. During that time, Melvina had 2 babies. The first, a boy named Robert, was born in 1943. The second was a baby girl born in 1945. Here's where it gets dark. It's believed that Nanny killed that newborn baby in the hospital while Melvina was still groggy from a difficult birth. And little Robert? He mysteriously died from asphyxiation while under Grandma Nanny's care. When World War II ended in 1945, husband Robert went out to celebrate. He came home drunk and raped Nanny. Bad move. She poured rat poison into his corn whiskey jar, and he died that night. Husband number 3, Arlie Lanning, also came from the Lonely Hearts column. Another alcoholic and womanizer. He died of heart failure. He left his house to his sister, but then it mysteriously burned down. Guess who collected the insurance money? Yep, Nanny. Husband number 4 was Richard Morton, who she met at a singles club. He wasn't a drunk, but he was a womanizer and in serious debt. He died from stomach pains not long after the wedding. Now here's the twist. Husband number 5, Sam Doss, was actually different. Unlike all her other husbands, Sam genuinely cared for Nanny. He was a good guy. Didn't matter. Just a few months after their marriage, Sam got hospitalized with a severe digestive tract infection. He was released after 23 days, and Nanny made him a nice pot roast and coffee for dinner. He died that evening. This time, the doctor was suspicious and ordered an autopsy. They found a huge amount of arsenic in Sam's system. Nanny was immediately arrested. And here's the creepy part. She never showed an ounce of remorse. She was smiling in her police photos, giggling even. She seemed to love the attention her crimes got her. She was convicted of murdering Samuel Doss and died from cancer in the Oklahoma State Penitentiary in 1965, still smiling to the end. So there you have it, the top 5 most vicious female killers. These women are in a league of their own. Whether they killed out of insanity, were products of their horrific environments, or were just born evil, one thing's for sure, they committed absolutely unspeakable acts. There's an old saying, "Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned." And after hearing these cases, I think there might be some truth to that. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss next week's video. Drop a comment below and let me know which case shocked you the most. Stay safe out there, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. And